All right, let's get started. Today we will be escaping from a strange house that the villagers will bring us to.
Well, I made it to JJ and Mikey's house. I've been waiting for this moment for so long, and now I have the perfect opportunity to kidnap them. They've done too many terrible things to our village. I have to say, they have a pretty cozy house. It's a shame to take them out of here. Here comes JJ's bed. Look how sweetly he sleeps. It won't last long. It's time to start. Carry them carefully so they don't wake up. They may be two, but they're very strong guys. So it could be very bad for us when they get us. They could have handcuffed them.
Wait, why am I lying on the floor? Anyway, I'm not home right now, but I distinctly remember me and Mikey going to bed in our house. Something's wrong. I gotta wake up Mikey right now.
JJ, did you bring us here? I don't remember waking up in the night. So how did we get here?
I don't know myself yet, but who are the villagers and what they want from us? Why don't you open the door for us? All right, nobody's gonna let us out of here for nothing, and the lasers are very powerful, so there's no way we're just gonna get out of here.
Our situation is really not the most pleasant, and the worst part is that we just got kidnapped in the middle of the night. I think there's a villain behind this whole thing. There's just one thing I don't understand. Why would they put us in such a huge house and put up a laser fence? I think it's more profitable to just throw us in jail, so there's still a chance we can get out. The most important thing is to look around. Since the territory is large, there should be a lot of clues. Special attention should be paid to the house, because it has a lot of different tables and nightstands.
You were right, Mikey. I found a book where you have to solve an example, and it's clear that somewhere in this house, there's a door that will only open if you enter the password. We just have to find it, but even that's not that important. To open the door, you need to collect 4 books and solve them correctly. So now you and I are going to find the books and solve the examples. I think it won't be that hard because the examples here are too simple. Who wanted to keep the password secret obviously didn't think how to do it better.
I think we should look everywhere we can, because they've obviously been thrown around as best they can. And since we're locked in here for now, we might as well think about who could have done this to us in the first place. And to be honest, I can't think of anyone at all. After all, we've done nothing but good things lately, so there's no place for enemies to come. But now that we're here, someone didn't like us after all. It'll be interesting to see who he turns out to be and what we've done to him. But I still think it's just some maniac with a lot of money. He's got a really cool house, though.
You're right. He does have a lot of money. I don't think even I could buy such a huge house in one go. And don't forget the lasers. That many of them would cost a lot of money. But we'll find out soon enough, because we've already found almost all the books. Which means we can slowly get to that door to enter the password. I wonder what's waiting for us behind that door. I don't think there's just gonna be an exit. It's a huge area after all. The most important thing is that there's no obstacle course, because I'm getting tired of obstacles.
Well, I certainly can't give you an answer to that question, but I'm sure we'll find out what's behind that door very soon. Although something tells me it'll just be an office, somebody's got to keep an eye on the place, and we need a password to keep anyone from getting in. But of course I want to believe that behind the door lies a secret way or a whole bunch of weapons with which we can get out of here.
Let's see. So, here we were able to open the door. I'm actually really worried about seeing something awful like this. Although something tells me I know what's coming next. Yeah, just as I thought. Here we have another challenge, and right off the bat, one of the toughest. I really don't like to do these drawings. They take up too much of our time. I wish we had a pickaxe. Then we could just dig our way out and get out of here. But since we don't have anything, we're gonna have to play by the rules.
I don't think we're gonna be here long. Look at this. The drawings are very simple, so you just have to do a rough drawing and you're good to go. You just take your time. As I understand it, we have plenty of time, so we can go through everything at a relaxed pace. Plus, there's no point in wasting our energy now, because I'm pretty sure there's more challenges ahead. I mean, they can't just do one painting assignment. So you do that, and I'll see what else is out there. For some reason, I think we're gonna have to do some parkour. In which case, we're gonna need a lot of energy. I don't know what else the villagers could have come up with. With this house, they could have done anything, and that scares me a little bit.
Look, Mikey, I did it. So now we can move on to the next challenge. Is parkour really that easy? I think it's just a transition zone from one task to the next, because even a child can do this simple parkour. Well, we're better off for it, as long as it's not too difficult.
Let's see what we got here. Now, this is more like a mission. I hate these fans so much. That's because you never know which way you're gonna go. There's a trap at the bottom, so there's no margin for error. I don't really feel like going down. There's a chance we might just survive, but I don't want to take that chance. So let's get through this place this on the first try. We just need to figure out how we're gonna do it.
There's nothing complicated about it. The power of these fans is kind of small, so you can just run through, and that's it. I make much stronger fans in my traps. Now that we're done here, let's see what's next. And this is where it gets even worse. If before we pass the test by our physical parameters, now all we need is luck, because it's almost impossible to tell fake lava from real lava. That's what I don't like about this. You could die just because you chose the wrong path.
Well, you and I are pretty lucky, so I don't think we're gonna die here tonight. And I've noticed you can figure out which way to go, by the way. Real lava gives off a lot of heat, and with water, there's a trick to it. The thing is, they smell very different. And since water doesn't have an odor, you just have to pick a path by smell and go.
Look where we ended up. This is the control center for all the electricity in this precinct. And I think you know what that means, don't you? I do. Now you and I can get out of this house. We just have to cut all the wires. The lasers can't operate autonomously after all. Because of their high power, they have to be connected to a power source. And that's where we're standing right now. Now, I understand why this room was so carefully hidden behind the obstacle course. After all, if you get in here, you can control the whole house. And that's exactly what we needed.
I think the villagers are going to be very surprised when they realize we managed to escape. But it's basically their own fault. Shouldn't have left the books in the password part of that door. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have gotten out. But we still made it. Well, that's it. The wires are almost all gone. And that means that you can now safely disconnect the power supply. And I think I'm gonna have to run for the exit as fast as I can. Because if the villagers find out we're escaping, they'll come here in a big group. And then we won't stand a chance of escaping.
So, Mikey, as I suspected, everything is working as it should, which means you and I will be free to go. Except I'm still not sure where we're supposed to go, but we can figure that out later.
Hey, there's a garage. What do you say we go and see if there's a car in there? I mean, if there is, we can get to town or the village a lot faster. And if not, we'll just walk. We've got nothing to lose anyway. But I already realized that the car will be very good. Look at it. A sports car like that will get us to any place we want to go. And we got it for free.
She does look really cool, and I'm sure it's very powerful. Apparently, I've never been in a car that fast, so I suggest you fasten your seatbelts. I'm going to try to drive slowly and carefully, you know? In a car like this, it's a sin not to make a sudden acceleration. So God help us all. But I'm not gonna die. We still have to find whoever locked us in this house and get back at them with a vengeance.
You know, I got a little scared after you said that. So why don't you just drive safe? Because I don't really want to be speeding out of the car. I'm so lucky it's a 5-point harness.
In general, I think I may have figured out one of the kidnappers. It wasn't that hard to guess because his laser fence says it all instead. We can't be sure yet, so he's only a suspect, but I think you know what we need to do. Give him the benefit of the doubt. And if he does tell us all his secrets, we can take him to the police. We could call them beforehand, of course. But I know how fast they work there, so it's better to do it ourselves and just bring it to them.
First, we need to get inside this precinct. I don't think the lasers work both ways, so we just have to dig a couple blocks down and we'll be on the other side. I think that's the biggest problem with these lasers. They're very expensive, but they're not 100% safe. So I wouldn't put one of those on myself. I think we might as well just make barbed wire. And by the way, we're already in enemy territory, so all we have to do is find him. And I don't think we're gonna have any trouble with that. I don't think there's a lot of people living here, though.
I agree with you. He'll obviously be the only one here. I still don't understand how they got so much money. They were able to build a huge house to hide us in, and they built themselves a laser fence. Someone's giving them money, and that someone is our biggest enemy. So until we get to him, we're not going to end our suffering. I really wanted to get this thing over with quickly.
Look, there's our client, sitting there watching TV like nothing happened. What, you didn't think we could get to you? Now you're gonna tell us everything you know. If you don't talk, we'll cut you into pieces, and then nothing will help you.
Wait, don't kill me. I don't want to die, so I'll tell you everything. The thing is, I don't know much. I just got a call asking me for a favor that would pay well.
That's interesting. Let him stay here for now, and we'll go down to the vault in the meantime. It's a good thing he knew something about it. I wonder what's hidden in there. With it underwater, not everyone can get to it, and you don't find a place like this by accident, so you and I are in the middle of some pretty big gang, and it's time we got ourselves a weapon. Because the more we find out, the more trouble we're in. I wouldn't be surprised if we're gonna have to get involved in a reorganization soon.
Look at this huge door. It's scary how many people work in this gang. And by the way, while we're at it, why don't we sign all the evidence? At least that way we can get a better idea of what the gang's future plans are. And also make it easier for the police, because we're obviously gonna have to go to them. There's a very high level of threat here. Look at the amount of money and guns they have. I think they could take over an entire city, but we have to stop them from doing that.
You're right, there's something very bad going on here, and no one knows about it. Now I have even more questions for them. At the very least, what could we have done to make them interested in us? Maybe we've stolen something before, but I don't think they're just getting revenge now. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, there's no point in thinking about it now anyway. We'll have to talk to our villager again. I think he's missing something. I can't believe he'd lie to us at the risk of his life. He's definitely a burglar or a murderer, and how can he just sit there and watch TV? I wouldn't just put him away for life, I'd basically execute him, because people like him shouldn't be walking the planet.
Wow, I haven't seen you this angry in a long time. Although I totally get it. They stole us from our home, made us go through a whole obstacle course and run away from home, all for reasons we don't yet understand.
Look, I suggest you follow this villager. After all, he can't stay home forever. Sooner or later, he's gonna be called to a meeting or another crime. That'll be our chance to take them all down. Except we still don't have any weapons, so we'll have to be prepared. We could just create one, but that would take a long time. And it's not very cool to fight with a blade, so we'll have to think about that.
And there he is. Look how big this house is. And something tells me he didn't come here to see his friends. This is definitely one of the gang buildings. So we're gonna have to get in here. Only thing is, we're not gonna make it. There could be a lot of enemies out there, so we need to be as quiet as possible. If anyone sees us, we're not gonna make it out alive. So I'm a little scared to go in there. But we have no other choice, because we can't just turn a blind eye to what's literally happening right in front of us.
Don't worry, everything's gonna be fine, and we can go in the front door. Since I have a crowbar, we won't need lockpicks. In fact, I have a feeling there's no one here. It's too quiet in a building where criminals are supposed to be, don't you think? So we need to take a good look around. Except, I've already realized that this is not an easy case. I mean, there's locks on literally every door in here, which means we're either gonna have to make a lot of noise or find some lockpicks and keys. I don't want to do the former. There's not going to be a whole bunch of villagers coming in with machine guns.
Look, while we're here, why don't we take pictures of the evidence? I mean, there's a lot of it. At least there's a giant gold safe in the middle of the house. I don't think a villager could afford that. Plus, there's tons of money and guns everywhere. So we can get some really good pictures for the police. Who knows, we might even get a commendation. Although I don't need one. The most important thing is that they all end up in jail. Then we'll have a much more peaceful life. What do you think about this, JJ?
Of course we need to gather as much evidence as we can, because when are we ever going to get a chance to get into a gangster's house? And by the way, don't you want to see how much money they have? I know it's wrong to steal, but we're stealing from the bad guys. So it seems perfectly normal to me. And we'll take a little bit so no one will even notice it's missing. And it'll be a nice bonus for us for helping catch criminals. So it's decided we're gonna take a little bit of money with us.
It's a lot to take in. The amount of money and gems is overwhelming. I say we take it all out and take pictures. Then the robbers won't have a chance to justify themselves. Although we've overlooked the biggest disadvantage of all. Couldn't they just bribe a cop? With the amount of money they have, it wouldn't be hard for them to basically buy off the entire police department. And some of the money would be left over to buy a yacht and cars. But I still want to believe that our police can't be bribed. After all, they've helped us so many times. So I think that in the end, everything will be fine.
Don't worry. I think the police will really help us. After all, we took most of the money out of their safe. So now they won't have that kind of leverage. And our pictures are perfect. With this evidence, it'll take 5 minutes to put them all away. So you and I can celebrate our victory. We've been through a lot, but it was worth it. So let's get to the right place and start the operation to capture the criminals. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Look, there's some kind of performance going on right now. I think this is the perfect opportunity to tell everyone what one of them was up to. Then we can go on trial and put him in jail ourselves.
Hello? I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to temporarily interrupt your event. That's because one of you has turned out to be a real criminal who's been kidnapping people. To prove it, we've taken a lot of photos that show clear signs of fraud. So please listen to what I have to say. People like him shouldn't be free to walk your streets. I want everyone to know the traitor by sight, so my friend and I arrested him. And now we want to put him behind bars so he can't hurt anyone else. I hope you'll support me.
JJ, carry on. I feel like they heard you and want to continue. Really, why are they still dancing? We also found a safe with a huge amount of money in it. And for some reason, I'm pretty sure it all belongs to you. So we're giving it to you. Every last dime. So we want you to get things back to the way they were before.
I knew there was something wrong with him, but I was afraid to tell anyone. I thought they'd think I was crazy or insane. But now I know I'm safe. And yes, I totally agree with you. He should be locked up for good.
Trust me, you'll regret what you did. I have a lot of connections, so I'll get to you somehow. And this cage isn't gonna stop me. You don't even realize what you've gotten yourself into this time. But you'll understand soon enough. I suggest you remember what I just told you.
I think you've had enough of your empty threats. You'll have nothing but this prison now. Let's see how long you can last in it. And with that, Mikey, our investigation is officially over. So congratulations to us.
It's kind of over pretty quickly. I thought we'd be investigating this case for days or even a week. Anyway, I'm glad it's over. Now we can finally go about our business and celebrate our victory.
You're right about that. Victory is ours.